With us now is Scott Hamilton. Yes, that's Scott Hamilton, Olympic gold medalist. He's all that and a bag of chips, and he's here with us now, and I couldn't be more elated. Scott, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, thank you. You make me blush or something. I don't know. I appreciate that. It's great to be with you.
So, you have lived a life of legacy, and now you're actually creating new things for people to help them create a legacy for themselves. So, I was elated to find out also that you've got so much going on. You've got books, podcasts, workshops, ways that people can get in touch with who they are so that they can bring joy forth. So, at what point did you kind of make the metamorphosis, if you will, from your skating days to being the person that you are today?
Well, I mean, everything about me is kind of like unlikely. It's like I was adopted. I kind of started off life sort of unintended and unwanted, and then things just kept happening. I was adopted at 6 weeks of age, and then I got sick when I was like 4, and I stopped growing for several years. And my parents were always there to kind of care for me, and so as I collected all these unique experiences, it seems like after a while they sort of present an identity, and it's that roller coaster of wow, is it really a tragic thing? And then something good came, and then something bad happened, and then something good happened, and it was just kind of this roller coaster. And I thought, that's like, wow, it's like, this is what life is, right? And we're being presented in so many ways by media and social media that our lives have to be up here. They have to be peak levels at 10 all the time, and we have to be happy, joy, joy, or we have to be loud, or we have to be the smartest person or the most whatever. And it's not that at all. It's just we are kind of who we are. I mean, we're just who we are, and we all have different we have different natural abilities. We have different, sensitivities. We have different personalities. We have different physicalities, and all of that, sort of directs us to a purpose, right? And what we can really participate in and do extremely well. The problem is it's still life. So there's obstacles throughout, and that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They don't understand that the obstacles are really important. They're unavoidable, and they're really important. And so in all of that, it was right after the diagnosis of my third brain tumor that I did an interview for people.com. And in it, I just talked about how you're joyful in any circumstance. And, they got, somewhat, dramatic. They go, well, how do you tell your children that this is happening? And I go, well, I'll go home and my son will say, is your brain tumor back? And I'll say, yes, it is. And they'll go, wait, what? So anyway, that interview, I did it because I wanted to get on some prayer chains and everything else. And that was the only announcement I made about my third brain tumor. And then I went back to life. And the video in that, I talked about, how we have so many days and we have to live our days and all that. Anyway, the video was viewed over 35 million times.
Wow.
And
Scott.
so in that, it was kind of like, what is going on here? And so there was something there. I mean, there was something there. It was important that, people, if they're desiring that kind of message, it just felt like this was something that needed to be in the community in some way, shape, or form. And so what came out of that was Live Your Days. And so 4 years ago is when this interview happened and all of this. And they said, I worked with 5x5 agency, and they're like, what do you think? And I go, I really like it, but it doesn't feel like the right time to do it. And they're like, what? Because we love this thing. And it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. And they're like, this is the greatest thing that, and all these things. And I'm like, let's just go hold. And so 4 years later, we're in month 2 of the 2-week shutdown to stop flatten the curve. In the second month of a 2-week lockdown. And they're like, now? And I got an email saying, can we talk? And I called them, and they said, now? And I said, now. We need this now.
Now's
because
the moment.
people, they feel threatened. They feel vulnerable. Their lives have been shaken. they don't know why or what or who or and the messages are just colliding in midair. And it's like, wear a mask, and it's like, well, masks don't work, and well, you've got to wear, this is the only thing, we got to do this, and it's like, okay, we have to do this. And then these treatments work, no they don't, yes they do, no they don't. And then there's this, like, the vaccine's coming, well, the vaccine's safe, no it's not, yes it is. It's like, so we're in this mass confusion of what's going to get us back to being able to live our lives, like authentically, organically, genuinely. And it's like, well, in the meantime, let's just really take a step back and understand that, all of the external things shouldn't really affect who we are on the inside, and who we are to each other, and who we can be in our communities. And so we launched Live Your Days, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a podcast. It's a 30-day challenge of positivity, which has been really fun to get that email every day in my email box to say, hey, today, here's your task. And
Yes.
none of these tasks are like running a marathon. It's like, they're really fun, and they're really, they kind of build that muscle in us of gratitude and of self-reflection and understanding, and also being able to be, in a very easy way, being impactful to the ones we love the most. And so we've had a lot of fun building it. It's been great. So liveyourdays.com.
I really wanted to interview you too, because we have a few connections in common. My husband Tom was 42 and he passed away from colon cancer. And we
I'm
decided to have this mantra of just roll over, instead of just roll over and die, just roll over and live. And he
Yeah.
wrote a song, Life is Only What You Make of It. So we also share that whole live it up mantra. So every day I wake up, and even my mom passed away from breast cancer when I was pregnant with my first son. She was in her 40s. And so you're right, we don't know how many days, but if we're given a day, then let's live it. Let's make it count. Let's find the joy. Let's celebrate one another. And when I got to read about you and I found out you were coming on the show, you have no idea, Scott. I've been walking on cloud 9 around my house the whole time. I'm like, Scott Hamilton, Scott Hamilton. I'm like, Scott Hamilton, So, and then I would go back and I would watch on YouTube, some of your skating and stuff, and just really wanted to connect with you and really just to tell you how people appreciate you. See, we look to others, to help us have a voice that we can hold on to, and people view you as a champion.
Wow.
And so you have that champion spirit inside of you, and you're just bringing it now forth in a different way. So that's why people need you right now, Scott. You're needed. People need you.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry for your losses.
Thank you.
But, and that's why I do the work I do in cancer. It's like, we should be able to live our full lives, and cancer is ultimately something that we can treat, something that we can defeat. It's just, the science is up here and the funding is down here. We need to close the gap. But, I lost my mom to breast cancer as well. And it's just that, that's a, man, I say I lost my mom yesterday, and it was 43 years ago. I mean, that's what it feels like. But, it gets back to that whole understanding. And I've been reminded on far too many occasions that, our bodies are incredibly fragile and vulnerable and, susceptible to so many different things, right? But they're also phenomenally resilient and incredibly amazing, miraculous instruments. But ultimately, we're temporary, right? So nobody gets out of this thing alive, right? So, we're given, as you mentioned, we're given so many days, and it's like, how am I going to live today? And it's really a choice. It doesn't seem like it sometimes. Like, I get really low, and believe it or not, I get really low, and it's like, well, no. Why am I choosing this right now? I don't know. I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel good, and it's just kind of like, it's almost a switch, And
I agree.
And when and when the tumor came back for the third time, it's like the first time, it was a shock because I just had cancer 7 years before, and I thought I got a pass. It's like, I did the hard stuff. Now I get to coast for a while. It's like, no, you got to deal with this. So they did a biopsy, and they went through and they took a piece out of it, and they diagnosed it as a brain tumor that I was born with. How's that? That answers a lot of questions for that childhood illness. And then, it came back 6 years later, and that time it presented itself best for surgery. And so they removed it, and the surgery, there, like in about 6% of patients, there's complications. And I was, the complication. So one surgery became 9. And then I lost my right eye at the last one and it came back a little bit, but generally it shut down. And so I was like, oh, it's a whatever. And there's different emotions that go with each one. The first one was kind of a shock. The second one was like getting kicked in the gut. And the third one came back 6 years later. The third one was different. This one was like, okay, now it's the devil I know. And I've gotten past this thing 2 more times, and I've always had it. And my perspective had changed, where I didn't look at the brain tumor as a horrible, nasty, terrible, awful thing that's robbing me of my life. I look back on it, I go, if I hadn't had this brain tumor, I never would have gotten into skating. I never would be the size that I am. So all the really incredible things that happened in my life were due to something I would never choose, right? But it became sort of the catalyst for all the good things in my life. So that time they're giving me the treatment options, and I just sort of said, well, I'm sorry, I'm listening, but there's something in me that says to get strong. And I don't know what that is, but there's this voice in my spirit that's get strong. So I'm just gonna, you guys, I'll get back to you on all these treatment options, but I'm gonna go get strong. I'm just gonna and I didn't know if it was physical, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual. And so I kind of went all the above. And it was really life-giving. It was like one of those things where, maybe my back's up against the wall a little bit. Maybe I'm going to have to deal with this brain tumor at some point in time. I caught it on a scheduled scan, no symptoms. And so for the past 4 years, I've been getting strong. And it's really been remarkable that I feel more resilient. I feel more in touch with my faith than ever before. I feel like I can actually take part in my own strength and fitness and wellness. And I'm really interested in a lot of things now. I'm really paying attention to things going on around me. And so I'm getting strong, all the above. And the tumor has shrunk and grown and shrunk and shrunk and grown. And it's been
well, Scott, have you named it? I mean, did you give it a name? I mean, have you become friends with it? Like,
it's not that kind of relationship, but
not yet. Okay.
I do affectionately call it my noggin nugget, so there's a noggin nugget in there. And it is what it is, but, it's starting to grow a little bit where maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to it. So I hit the gym a little bit harder. I read the Bible maybe a little bit more. And I'm doing all the things that I can do to stay able and
yes.
So that when that treatment option does kick in, I'm fortified in mind, body, and spirit, where I can just be able to tolerate anything. And that's kind of the key to life, right? If we can be strong, mind, body, and spirit, there's stuff that's going to come at us all the time, but we're more able to fend it off, or at least to negotiate with it so that it doesn't take over everything.
Absolutely. And it seems like you're at peace right now with your current situation at hand, and you're ready to take on all the challenges. And you're helping others, right?
Teenagers, and my son is 12, he's about to be 13. So I'm going to have 4 teenagers.
Ooh.
Nothing scares me now.
Nothing scares you now. Now, I do have one other question. Down where you live, it's south, but they do have, sometimes they have outdoor skating rinks. Do you ever get a chance to make any figure eights anymore, or, spin around?
All the time. I have a skating academy with the Nashville Predators. And we have a, learn to skate. Now we have a competitive program. And so, like, even today, I'm going to be going from here to a rink Zoom meeting about, best practices. And then from there, they're doing all of these virtual program kind of, they do these where they record the program and they put it in for consideration for the U.S. Nationals. And so I'll be doing that as a proctor. They call it a proctor. So I'll be witnessing all that and signing all the papers and being there to say I witnessed this performance and it was all done right. And so then, I'll be meeting my son after that, which, has been a lot of fun to do as well. So, it's just been, taking this unique time of forced quiet and really reinventing ways of being, I don't know, impactful. We're still doing our work for cancer research. It seems like the whole world is COVID, 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 COVID. I got a meme somebody sent me, I'm just basically saying, well, the good news is nobody died of anything since March, except for this. It's like, well, that's not a funny joke, but
I know,
it's
but the irony, I do
yeah,
understand the irony. And even on my show, Scott, one of the things we do is we interview celebrities, businesses, and nonprofit organizations. And one of the things that, you made a good point about that is that there are so many other, nonprofits, especially during this holiday season, that still need our help. Whether it's research for cancer, whether it's feeding the homeless, whether it's taking toys to children. There's so much work that we still needs to be done and still can be done. You just have to do it in a safer manner, but it doesn't stop us, right? So we move forward, we proceed forward,
Yeah, and I feel bad. There are a lot of people that are going without needed biopsies and preventive things for cancer, and that's my whole passion is cancer. I lost my mother to breast cancer, and of course you same. And it's just like we got to do something.
Yes, we need to continue to be there for one another and continue to shine. Scott Hamilton, you are my champion today.
Oh, thank you. God bless you. And it's been so fun being on your show. And I hope we get a chance to do it again in the near future.
Absolutely. And maybe when I come down to Nashville to visit my daughter Elise, maybe we'll go have lunch at the Gulch or something fun. Or Loveless,
That'd be fun.
something like that.
I love the Gulch, and I love the 12th Avenue South, another destination.
Oh, good. I'll visit you soon. Happy journeys.
All
Be
right.
well.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.